So you're looking at moving to Colorado, or you already live here and you're wondering, what are some really cool and fun things to do that I might not know about? That's what I focus on in this channel, not just about real estate, as I'm a realtor throughout Colorado, the entire state, but also just want to provide value and helping people understand what are some cool other things to do. So I thought I would do that regionally throughout the whole state of Colorado in several different regions to cover fun stuff to do that you might not know because you don't know what you don't know. And that's the whole thrust of this channel. Let's check it out today. We're going to check out the central and eastern parts of Colorado. 8 fun things to do that you might not know about that you should check out. Let's go. I connect with people just like you every day to help them discover where to live and invest in real estate and sell property for top dollar when the time is just right for them. My name is Leif Jacobson. I'm an ex-cop turned realtor, also known as Safe Leif. If you're new to this channel, subscribe so you're first to learn about all things Colorado real estate. There's a very specific reason that I didn't just make it specific to a city or region of Colorado, because I work throughout the state and want to be a resource for people all throughout the state. I'm excited to hear from you. Please shoot me a text, call, or email after this video. I would love to hear from you, or book a calendar appointment and I will reach out to you, whichever works best for you. So today we're checking out 8 things that you may not know in central and eastern parts of Colorado that are just cool things, cool activities, family fun, individual activities, and cool things to do that you might not know about. So let's go. Let's check out all 8 right now. Colorado is known as the higher state in numerous areas. We all know that's because of elevation. Denver is the mile-high city, but there's hundreds of cities that are higher elevation than most parts of the country. So that's where the higher elevation or higher terminology comes from. And there's a higher number of things to do, because especially outdoor activities, we'll cover some indoor stuff, but also mostly outdoor activities today. It's part of the reason I love Colorado is because, yes, there are cold winters and long cold winters, but it gets more sun than Southern California. So it's gorgeous outside, vast majority of the time, even though it's cold. And I grew up in the Seattle area where it's wet and cold, and it feels so different when it's sunny outside versus drizzling most of the time. And it doesn't feel nearly as cold when the sun's out. So even at 10, 15, 20 degrees, man, it's still gorgeous outside with the sun shining most of the time. The first thing we'll cover today is in and around Denver as the mile-high city, and there's lots of educational museums. These are fascinating museums. There's the Denver Art Museum, which has galleries showcasing over 70,000 works of famed artists, such as Vincent van Gogh, Winslow, and Homer. It houses one of the most impressive collections of art between Chicago and the entire West Coast. One of the highlights of the Denver Museum is its extensive assembly of Western American art, which includes paintings, sculptures, and works on paper related to the West Coast, going back 2 centuries. The Museum of Contemporary Art in Denver was founded in 1996. Its mission is to celebrate the art of our time in the heart of Denver. It presents world-class exhibitions, and quirky events, as well as serious lectures and epic parties. They host all sorts of activities and events there. They take pride in both being sophisticated and unpretentious. There's all sorts of stuff to partake in there and lots of activities and things that they host. Denver Botanical Gardens is another one. It's 24 acres featuring 50 gardens for visitors to explore. It's located downtown Denver near Cheeseman Park. Gardens treat travelers to a variety of different environments, from traditional Japanese garden, complete with bonsai trees, of course, like any good botanical garden, to the South African plaza that's booming with exotic plants like asparagus, fern, and torch lilies. Last thing we'll mention on that front in Denver is the Performing Arts Center. There's no need to go to New York for the best that Broadway has to offer. They bring shows to you. So right in Denver, it's known for having the best patrons in the business, regularly chosen to launch national tours, such as the Book of Mormon and Pippin. There's trendy restaurants and breweries in Denver, aside from the other museums that we've covered. There's Larimer Square, which is home to several great breweries and bars. There's some top-rated breweries, including Great Divide Brewing Company and Ratio Beer Works. Five Points area of Denver is also an exciting place to explore for the evening. There's vibrant nightlife scene, live musical performances all over the place, and noteworthy street art that's kind of fun to look at. Family-friendly attractions in Denver are the Denver Zoo, which is modeled after a Kenyan nature preserve. Denver Zoo is home to over 4,000 animals, including tigers, black rhinos, kangaroos, orangutans. It sprawls across 80 acres of park. Boasts a number of ways to view furry, feathered, and reptilian friends. Visitors highly recommend timing your visit around feeding times, during which staff offers educational lectures about the zoo's residents and animals. Keep in mind it's a large facility, so you're going to want to budget plenty of time to see all the animals. Denver Museum of Nature and Science, at the heart of culture experiences in Denver. So that's a good way to explore the cosmos, uncover dazzling gems of minerals, see an IMAX film and a planetarium show, and get as close to a T-Rex as you dare. Denver City Parks, or Denver City Park, there are many parks around Denver, but Denver City Park is an icon. Has great mountain views, lots of space for kids to run around. The second thing we'll feature that's fun to do in central Colorado is climbing Pikes Peak. Whether you're climbing it with your legs or whether you're climbing it in a vehicle. Pikes Peak is America's mountain, is what it's known as. Elevation just over 14,000 feet, it's 14,115 feet. It's located approximately 30 miles west of Colorado Springs. Has inspired many stories and songs, including America the Beautiful is right behind that song. You can ascend the mountain in a number of ways. Driving is the easiest way to summit, of course. In a vehicle, it takes just a few hours. There's plenty of spaces to pull over and admire the views on the way up. Keep in mind that the drive to the summit requires reservations, so that can be a little difficult, especially for those afraid of heights. So you need to be careful, and you can have altitude sickness when you get up that high. A lot of people have never experienced that type of elevation before, so you need to be careful and sensitive to that, which are kind of like flu symptoms. You can look that up yourself. There's also guided tours available on the mountain. Another popular way to reach the top is the Broadmoor and Manitou Pikes Peak Cog Railway. So the Cog Railway was not operational for many, many years. The Broadmoor purchased the railway and rebuilt it. They actually brought in the only company in the world that I'm aware of that actually builds cog railways and specializes in rebuilding and refurbishing cog railways out of Switzerland. So they flew this company in, employed their services, spent millions and millions of dollars revamping the cog railway, which just reopened a couple years ago after many, many years defunct, and it is a fabulous way to get up to the mountain. And it leaves right from cute Manitou Springs, which is a fun and quirky little town to depart from. The railway offers breathtaking vistas. The altitude may take your breath away literally. So the ride lasts a little more than an hour. It's 40 minute stop at the top when you get there, when passengers can soak in the scenery before boarding the train down. So you spend a little bit of time at the top. A lot of people don't want to spend too much time because they don't feel well at that kind of altitude. You purchase tickets for this round trip ride online before you go. You can get them there, but you risk not getting a seat, of course, so it's best to pre-purchase them. Tickets sell out about 2 weeks in advance during the summer, so you got to be on that and prepare well for that. You can, of course, summit the mountain on foot. My daughter did this just a few weeks ago. A friend invited her on a little hike out of Manitou and didn't tell her that they're actually going up Pikes Peak. So it's not an easy hike. It is a lengthy hike and is not easy on the body. So you need to make sure you're in shape for that and well prepared for that. The Bar Trail is a 25-mile, it's between 23 to 25 miles, kind of depending on how you take the trail. Round trip. So it's about 13 miles each way, 12 to 13 miles each way. It's only recommended for skilled hikers and bikers, of course. There's people that bike up as well. The Craig's campground is a shorter at 14 and a half miles, but still difficult. Either way, it's a grueling hike, so you need to be well prepared for it in order to get to the top. But there's incredible panoramic views of Colorado Springs and the surrounding area. Feels like you can see Kansas pretty much straight from there, looking out to the east. While visiting the Summit Visitor Center, there's a gorgeous visitor center at the top. treat yourself with a Pikes Peak donut. There's a donut shop right at the top of the mountain, which is totally awesome. A specialty donut that can only be made at elevations over 14,000 feet. There's very specific cooking and baking is different at that type of altitude, so it's kind of interesting to have it all dialed in, making those right at the top of the 14,000 foot mountain. The third thing we'll cover in central Colorado is exploring Garden of the Gods. Garden of the Gods Park is a registered national landmark. It's 300-foot sandstone and rock formations with a backdrop of Pikes Peak in the background. It's a gorgeous park and it's free. When it was deeded over to the city many years ago, the person who deeded it over said, hey, the one rule I'm going to set is I'll give this to the city, but you can never charge for people to enjoy Garden of the Gods. I want it to be free for everybody indefinitely. So it's wonderful to be able to view a national monument like that in a national park that is at no charge. It's located 6 miles northwest of downtown Colorado Springs. It's kind of on the northwest side. There's plenty of ways to explore it. You can hike, a great way to exercise while soaking in the great views and meandering around the rocks. There's rock climbing there that can be done as well. A couple highly recommended hike routes include the Central Garden Trail, which is pretty easy. The Palmer Trail is a moderate trail. There's Jeep tours. Visitors can take a 90-minute narrated Jeep tour to Balanced Rock, which is a huge rock balancing on a very small tip and point. There's millions of people that have taken pictures there. It's a famous rock and famous monument there. You can hear all about the history of the park as you're on your Jeep tour if you want. There's numerous companies that do Jeep tours. You can also take a 90-minute Jeep tour to Glen Erie's Queens Canyon and enjoy a scenic overlook up there, which is kind of like a private Garden of the Gods. The Navigators is an organization, a nonprofit organization, Christian organization that owns Glen Erie, and they own their own canyon, which has similar Garden of the Gods structures, which is just gorgeous. I've been up there. It's fabulous. 2-hour excursions to waterfalls, tunnels, and other picturesque areas around Garden of the Gods. You can do a trolley tour. It's offered hourly. You can rock climb there, like I mentioned earlier. You need a permit and registration and need to have the right gear and skills, of course, to do rock climbing. And there's also bike tours around Garden of the Gods. You can e-bike and mountain bike and rent those that are available in the park. The fourth thing we'll cover in central Colorado is Painted Mines Park. Now this one's really obscure and most people haven't heard of Painted Mines. It's kind of obscure. It's east of Colorado Springs, about 40 miles. It's named after the clay Native Americans collected to make paint out of the soil and the geography of this, the geology of this park. Features stunning geological formations with distinctive color bands caused by oxidized iron compounds in the soil. These formations make beautiful background for photo ops. It's 4 miles of hiking trails, picnic tables, restrooms, and interpretive displays. There are guided hikes in the summer months, so you can gather more information on the what and why of the different colors. And the park's free to enter, so that costs nothing. Just venture down there and check it out. Visitors talk often about the park's beauty and appreciate that it's not as touristy as other Colorado Springs attractions, but some warn that getting there feels like a drive in the middle of nowhere, because it is. It's in the middle of nowhere, way outside of Colorado Springs. So if you're in Denver, there's no question it's a drive, but it's a gorgeous drive, and it's kind of not one of those things that you would ever know about unless I told you, and that's why we're covering it right here. The fifth thing we'll talk about in central Colorado, this is more northern, kind of northwest of the Denver area, is Rocky Mountain National Park. The Rocky Mountains obviously run north-south throughout many states, including coming down into Colorado. But the Rocky Mountain National Park specifically draws millions of people a year to explore its varied trails and stunning views. It is incredible. Some call it the Alps of Colorado. It features dramatic peaks as well as 147 lakes and lots of wildlife. It's home to 355 miles of trails to appeal to hikers and backpackers of all experience levels. Top visitors recommended trails are beginner trails would be Lily Lake Loop, the Bear Lake Trail, and Lake Irene Trail. Intermediate climbers can do climbs like Emerald Lake Trail, which is 4.1 miles, 744 feet of elevation gain. That's pretty moderate as far as a hike. The Sky Pond Glacier Gorge Trail is 9.4 miles out and back and features some snow-capped peaks around from the views. Experienced hikers, or people who are really used to mountaineering and hiking outdoors, is Long's Peak, which is a 14er. There are 58 mountains in Colorado that are called 14ers. So these mountains are over 14,000 feet, and it is a thing in Colorado to climb 14ers. So if you ever heard of somebody referring to that or talking about that, there's people that make it a lifetime goal to climb them multiple times or just once, doing all of the 14,000 foot plus peaks in Colorado. There's actually 13ers as well, and there's many more of those. So my brother-in-law is actually, he's up in his 50s numbers, as far as he's only got a couple few more to climb all 58 14ers in Colorado. So that's kind of an interesting thing you may not know about in Colorado. Long's Peak is a 14er. It's over 14,000 feet. It's nearly 5,000 foot elevation gain to climb the mountain. So it's a serious hike, and you definitely need gear. There's different classes of hikes and kind of technical abilities required in order to climb these mountains. So if you're going to do 14ers, you need to be geared up and skilled as far as wilderness travel, for sure. It's reserved for ambitious and very skilled hikers, and you need to start hiking early generally. When you're doing 14ers or large mountains, you're 2 or 3 in the morning is when you're usually starting out, because you want to hit the summit and get back down before lightning and thunderstorms hit the top of a lot of these peaks in the afternoons. So that's why you need to leave early. Backpacking requires a wilderness permit, and they're issued a first come, first serve basis. Rocky Mountain National Park operates on a timed permit system during the summer, so that's May to October. Entry into the park during the season requires a $30 vehicle entrance pass, so you have to pay in order to drive throughout the park, but it's well worth $30 if you've never been there, or if you even have been there, it's worth returning. I think that's, I'm all about user fees in order to keep it gorgeous and keep those roads in good condition, so I have no problem with that. You can take the high road and drive the Trail Ridge Road. With a high point of more than 12,000 feet, it spans nearly 50 miles and runs from Estes Park in the east to Grand Lake in the west. Known as the highest continuous paved road in the country, the road has several designated pullover areas, as well as maintaining a frightening drive with twisting turns and dramatic drops may turn your stomach a little bit. So if you're squeamish, may not be the drive for you. Sweeping mountain vistas and probable wildlife sightings are worth the potential height-induced anxiety that you might have taking this road. Give yourself at least a half a day to complete the drive, but even that is breezing through. You can do multiple days, if easily make it a multi-day trip if you really take your time. It's only open from May to October because of its dangerous winter weather conditions. Pay close attention to weather warnings in summer, as the weather is pretty unpredictable. You never know. They always say in Colorado, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute and it'll change. So the weather can change very quickly throughout Colorado. The sixth attraction we'll cover is the Stanley Hotel in central Colorado. An inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining, if you've seen that movie. It is located in Estes Park. It's about 5 miles from Rocky Mountain National Park. It's one of the most haunted hotels in America. The historic hotel offers several tours, including the visitor-recommended Spirited Stanley Tour, which fittingly takes place in the evening. There are even spirited rooms with high paranormal activity. Despite these sinister ties, the Stanley Hotel is one of the best hotels in Estes Park for good reasons. It touts renovated premium suites, plethora of premier dining options, spa treatments, guided tour excursions, and a variety of property entertainment, including concerts from Grammy Award-winning artists. Plenty to do in the town of Estes Park as well, including horseback riding, attending the Fall Elk Fest, and there's elk that come right down into the lake there, so that's pretty cool. The seventh thing or area we'll cover in central Colorado is the area of Boulder and the city of Boulder. It's got its own quirks and interest for sure, and it's known for a very unique culture. It's about 25 miles northwest of Denver. It's appreciated for its charming small town vibe. Pearl Street Mall is a top attraction there. Alfresco shopping area is lined with a plethora of boutiques and cafes. It's home to plenty of trendy restaurants and nightlife. It's frequented with street performers all over the place. That's close proximity to the University of Colorado, Boulder. Top Boulder food recommendations. The Buff is a great place for breakfast. Rincon, Argentina for an empanada-filled lunch. the Boulder Dushanbe Tea House for stunning afternoon tea, Bramble and Hare for an upscale farm-to-table dinner. You can check out the Boulder Farms Market for farm fresh produce that has live music and more on Wednesdays or Sundays. And you can hike the Flatirons is a must. There's giant sandstone peaks intertwined with miles of hiking trails, routes for hikers and climbers of all skill levels. And most hikes begin in the popular Chautauqua Trailhead, which also offers an expansive park area for relaxing and admiring the Flatirons if you're not in the mood to climb or hike. The eighth and final thing that we'll feature as far as Central Colorado is a concert at Red Rocks Amphitheatre. I'm sure you've seen pictures and or footage or coverage of the amphitheater. It is a legendary location. There are bleacher-style seats built into a cliff and surrounded by towering sandstone structures. It is an astonishing environment. Visitors rave about the venue's acoustics, saying it's one of the best and most unique places to witness a live performance. Concerts are usually scheduled between April and November annually. Even if you can't make it for a show, Red Rocks is still a great place to visit during the day. Panoramic views from high up in the stands, summertime drive-in movie events, and morning yoga sessions are held there. You can visit the Red Rocks Hall of Fame to see famous artists who have been on stage there. There are several hiking trails around the area as well. The Trading Post Trail's 1.5 miles, just actually 1.4 miles, is pretty easy. Trudge around the area, and the Red Rocks and Morrison Slide Trails are 3 miles and are kind of an intermediate level. So there you have 8 things that are interesting and fascinating in central and eastern Colorado, really just one in the eastern, most of them are central. Things you might not know about throughout Colorado, fun things to do. We have numerous other videos of these coming featuring different regions of Colorado as far as cool stuff to do, whether you're thinking of being here or whether you are here, and regardless of where you live, and even if you're just visiting Colorado, you don't know what you don't know. So that's why I want to feature these videos. Let me know if you would love to see any other types of videos and if I can feature more information for you. I want to provide value. I want to provide good information so people can have fun, live well. Shoot me a text, call, or email after this video. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm excited you've taken the time to watch today. We'll catch you in the next video.